Обращаюсь к руководству Российской Федерации. В конце сентября
I am addressing the leadership of the Russian Federation at the end of September. The Kherson region made its choice in a referendum that confirmed its desire to join the Russian Federation, restore historical justice, and restore what had been lost in the recent years. We knew that such a decision would not be recognized by the Ukrainian authorities and expected them to take their revenge on us. And so it happened. Cities of the Kherson region, Kherson and Nova Kakhovka, Hola Pristan, and Kornobivka are subject to daily missile strikes. These missile strikes cause serious damage, first and foremost to the residents.
Херсонской области, и Херсон, и Новая Каховка, и Голая Пристань, и Чернобаев. И эти ракетные удары приносят...
These missile strikes cause serious damage, first and foremost to the residents. Among targets hit by missiles are hotels, residential buildings, markets, where there are a lot of civilians.
Рынки, там, где много мирного населения. В связи с этим руководством Херсонской администрации было принято решение.
In this regard, the leadership of the Kherson administration decided to organize the possibility for Kherson families of traveling to other regions of the Russian Federation for recreation and study. First of all, this is for the residents of the part on the right side, but at the same time, we also suggested that all the residents of the Kherson region could take out their children and leave, if there is such a desire, in order to protect themselves from the consequences that may now be inflicted by missile strikes, so that they could also go to other regions. First of all, these are Crimea, Rostov region, Krasnodar region, Stavropol region. These are our neighbors.
Вывести своих детей и самим выехать. Обращаясь к руководству страны,
Addressing the leadership of Russia, I would like to ask you to help organize this process. We, residents of the Kherson region, of course know that Russia does not abandon their own, and Russia always offers a hand where it is difficult.
всегда подставляет плечо там, где это трудно.
Маємо і потужний відгук від парі.
We also have a strong response from PACE, which is the first international organization to define the current regime in Russia as a terrorist. It is very important that this is a political signal, a signal to all states, members of the Council of Europe and all states of the world, that there is nothing to talk about with this terrorist group which appropriated Russia and unleashed the most terrible war in Europe in the last 80 years.
Що говорить? Терору треба відповідати силою.
Terror must be met with force at all levels, on the battlefield, with sanctions and legally. We will create a special tribunal for the crime of Russian aggression against Ukraine and ensure the operation of a special compensation mechanism so that Russia will answer for this war with its assets.
За цю війну 143 держави-члени ООН
143 UN member states supported the resolution, which protects the basic principles of the UN character and condemns Russia for the criminal attempt to annex our territory. This is a record number of states supporting Ukraine today, but I believe that there will be more. 4 states came out on the side of Russia. This is very eloquent. North Korea, Nicaragua, Belarus and Syria, such a list that everything is clear.
Нікарагуа, Білорусь та Сирія. Такий перелік, що все зрозуміло. Є Оленівка.
There's Olenivka, in fact a concentration camp where our prisoners are kept. Access to them is required. As it was stipulated, the Red Cross can make it happen, but you have to try to make it happen. Ukraine is ready to contribute to this.
Україна готова сприяти цьому. Сьогодні вдалося повернути.
Today it was possible to return another 20 Ukrainians from captivity. 14 soldiers of the army, 4 soldiers of the territorial defense, 1 national guard, and 1 soldier of the navy. We are working on getting everyone back.
Повернути усіх за добу.
During the day, 11 rockets were fired and 6 were shot down in Mykolaiv, Lviv, and Dnipropetrovsk regions. Thank you to everyone who completes this task.
Зараз Росія закидує на фронт тисячі.
Now Russia is sending thousands of its mobilized men to the front. They have no significant military training, but their command does not need it at all. They expect that the mobilized Russians will be able to survive the war for at least a few weeks. Then they will die, and the new ones will be sent to the front. But during this time, such use by Russian generals of their peoples as cannon fodder makes it possible to create additional pressure on our defenders. It's a noticeable pressure, and I'm grateful to all our soldiers who endure it.
Це відчутний тиск, і я вдячний усім нашим воїнам, які його витримують.
143 countries, including the United States and Mexico, came together to condemn Russia's sham referenda as a clear violation of international law and unequivocally rejected any attempt by Moscow to illegally annex Ukraine's sovereign territory. As much as a condemnation of Moscow, the UN resolution is also a resounding affirmation of global support for everything that President Putin is actually trying to destroy. It's a vote affirming the right of every nation, big and small, to have its sovereignty, its independence, its territorial integrity respected. A vote affirming our shared commitment to upholding the United Nations Charter and international humanitarian law. A vote affirming the human rights of all people, including Ukrainian civilians who continue to suffer barbaric atrocities at the hands of Russian forces. With this vote, the world has never been more united in its repudiation of Russia's war, and President Putin has never been more isolated.
I said also that we are working with the member states. There are 14 member states having started investigations, but not yet trials. And so I don't know how many people are involved in such a kind of process, but there are 14 member states organizing investigations due to the universal jurisdiction or due to the involvement of some nationals in the case, like journalists that were killed in Ukraine. And then we are working with the International Criminal Court, the Open Court of Human Rights, because there are also some individual cases and an interstate case between Russia and Ukraine in the Open Court of Human Rights. So all those elements are, for the moment, in motion, and we will continue to do that. We try to use, I said, all the existing tools, and it's very common with the Ukrainian authorities to do that. So we work with the Ukrainian Prosecutor General in his office, and I said that for the moment they have a reporting of 37,000 incidents, and they are working on investigation dedicated to 3,200 war crimes, with maybe, to be more precise, maybe that in French, 176 people involved in such a kind of process as suspects. And so we'll continue. We have had already 9 condemnations, and there are different trials ongoing for the moment. Our first request is to ask Ukraine to ratify the Rome Statute, to take part in the International Criminal Court, because it will be a good signal to participation in an international court. And then why not reflection with different partners about all the special tribunal, but maybe more, I said, an hybrid solution with international judges and Ukrainian judges through the UN.
I had a very good conversation with him in the sense that I have a clear idea. I am talking with my Ukrainian counterparts now, so hopefully we are going to be closer to the establishment of the protection zone. I'm saying very clearly that a protection zone is needed urgently. There has to be a recognition that this nuclear power plant cannot be a military target of any sort, in any way, intended or unintended. So this is why we are trying to work on a perimeter, we are trying to work on a way that can exclude it from any exchanges. And this is the basis of what I discussed there and what I'm discussing here. This is a Ukrainian nuclear power plant. But there is a reality. This plant has been occupied for many, many months.
Did you say it's Mr. Putin that he?
Of course, I said to him and I said to the Russian government that the IAEA cannot recognize annexation. This is a matter that goes beyond nuclear issues. It's a matter that has to do with the United Nations Charter and international law. Yes, very clearly. I told him directly. Yes.
How did he react? How did he react when you explained this?
He didn't react in any specific way. He has his position and I have mine.